I've been up and I've been down, seen the rain fall all around. Dark days when nothing seemed quite right, but something about them days with you always make the sky so blue, always seem to make the world so bright. 'Cause it's magic when we're together, sun shining on the weather, magic when I am here with you. And I'm floating like a feather, smiling, what could be better? Life is magic being here with you. Ooh. Life is magic when I'm here with you.
So my daughter did that the other day. Good evening and welcome to the January 11th City Council meeting of Chandler. We want to welcome all of our guests. We've got a short consent agenda, the election of a vice mayor, a briefing from our police, and then unscheduled that we'll be listening as long as we need to, as many that wants to speak at that time. At this point, I'd like to call our meeting to order, and clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor Hartke,
Here.
Vice Mayor Orlando,
Here.
Councilmember Encinas,
Present.
Councilmember Ellis,
Present.
Councilmember Stewart,
Here.
Councilmember Harris,
Here.
Councilmember Poston.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Our invocation will be led this evening by Reverend Steve Foss from First Baptist Church, and our Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Encinas. Reverend.
Would you join me in prayer, please? Heavenly Father, who is able to approach your throne? Who can stand before you? Those adopted through your grace, join me in approaching you. Our hands are clean and our hearts made pure only by the atoning work of your Son upon Calvary's cross. We pray for right thinking across our land. We lift before you our mayor and city officials, and in particular this assembled council. We are asking that you grant them wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, a keen thirst for justice and rightness, confidence in what is good and fitting, that all corruption would be exposed, any duplicity be met with transparency, any lies met with truth, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement. We pray, Father, for personal peace in their lives and joy in their tasks of governing. We pray for the agenda set before them tonight. Please give this council an assurance of what would benefit those who live and work in and around Chandler, that every decision would be in support of the sacred efforts of citizens to safeguard life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you, Council Member. Council, we had opportunity to look at the consent agenda and pull items for reports on Monday. Unless anyone would like any item pulled to action, a motion would be in order. Councilmember Stewart.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda of January 11th, 2024, regular meeting items 1 to 21.
Mayor, I'd like to second.
All right, we've got a motion by Councilmember Stewart, a second by Councilmember Ellis. Any recusals, reasons to not vote? Seeing none, Council, please vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you, Council. Our next on our agenda is the election of a vice mayor, and I'm going to make a motion and we'll see where it goes, but just out of respect to my other senior member on council, I would like to make a motion that Councilmember Stewart has opportunity to serve in this place. Is there a second?
I will second, Mayor.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Council, please vote.
Motion fails 4-3.
Okay, Council, is there a motion from the floor?
Mayor?
Councilmember Encinas.
Yes, I move to nominate Councilmember Odie Harris to elect him as Vice Mayor of the City Council with the term beginning January 12th, 2024, ending January 9th, 2025.
Mayor, I would like to second that motion.
Councilmember Ellis, we have a motion and a second for Councilmember Harris. Council, please vote.
Motion passes 5-2. Councilmember Stewart, yours will be as a no.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations, Councilmember Harris. All right. Next on our agenda is a briefing by our Chandler Police Department on teen violence. I would like to read a comment before Assistant Police Chief Melissa Deandra comes on up and shares a report with us. So what first got me involved in civic leadership was a murder that happened on the sidewalk right next to the church where I continue to serve a mile east of here on McQueen. A 15-year-old Oaxacan boy was riding his bicycle to work early in the morning, and he was murdered as part of a gang initiation. Wrong place, wrong time. This happened decades ago in the 90s when we had a pretty intensive gang situation and problem on the east side of our city, This was about the same time and the same circumstances that led to of Henry Salinas starting an organization called ICANN. Henry was a good friend of mine. I went to a council meeting and said that this was unacceptable in our community. And I was unimpressed by the seemingly lack of action on behalf of my city at that time. What I did learn was that the city was active and in due time arrested those responsible. It just seemed to take so long to me, who had witnessed this murder and was advocating for a family. I ended up doing the equivalent of a GoFundMe back then before social media, and you had to open an account at a bank and get news media interested to help you, and raised enough money to ship his body back to where most of his family was, back in Mexico. Arrests were made. And while today no city, including Chandler, is impervious to violence, we do stand lockstep with our community against these egregious acts of violence, against indifference, nonchalance, and passivity. As mayor and council, we condemn teen violence and have a zero tolerance policy. The fear and terror being created by this group of teens or any is unacceptable in our community. Incidents of teen violence require a collective action to make it stop and to hold those involved accountable. Our police and city are in close contact with our community, our neighboring cities, and will continue to do so. Incidents of teen violence in Chandler will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And we will say here that not in our city, and it is just as much our responsibility as schools, as police. And I am not going to stand before you, nor will these council members, and say, oh, it happened someplace else, because teen violence concerns us all. And regardless if it happens in a school or on a street corner, this is something that is unacceptable in all of our communities. Resources are committed to prevent, investigate, and prosecute any such crimes in Chandler. And if we learn of new resources, whether that would be tonight or in other conversations, we will continue to add to our repertoire of the same. We're looking at listening events. We're certainly in communication with our neighboring cities. And we believe that working together as a community with our police, we ensure the safety of our teens and of our family. I encourage each of us, and this will show up later on a screen, that to report teen violence incidents in Chandler to our Chandler Police Department. Posting information on social media is not a substitute for contacting our police. Call or text 911 to report emergencies. Call or text 480-782-4130 to report non-emergency incidents. Anonymous tips, including images and video, can be submitted online to our Chandler Police. Anonymous tips can be shared by calling 480-782-4440 as well. So with that, I'd like to call up our police chief, acting police chief, give us a report on teen violence in our community. And council, let her give a report, and any questions that you might have or comments that you might make, the floor will be yours. Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to speak to you about teen violence. Members of our community have shared concern about the recent surge of youth violence in the Southeast Valley. The Chandler Police Department acknowledges those concerns, and we stand committed to ensuring the safety of our residents, and we condemn any form of violence. In response to the heightened concerns, we have diligently reviewed prior investigations with reported teen violence in our city. While we have not identified any cases in Chandler involving teen violence that can be directly linked to the Gilbert Goons, we remain vigilant and committed to addressing any matters which compromise the safety of our community, specifically our youth. I want to assure you that any acts of violence will not be tolerated, and every report made to our department concerning a criminal offense is treated with the utmost seriousness. Our commitment to safety extends beyond Chandler as we actively collaborate with other law enforcement partners, and we will continue to provide support and resources to aid in their ongoing investigations. Recently, we joined a working group of East Valley agencies led by Gilbert PD, focused on gathering intelligence on individuals who are employing gang-style tactics to commit crime. Furthermore, we are a part of the East Valley Fusion Center, which is another mechanism used to exchange information and streamline crime-fighting efforts within the East Valley. Recognizing the importance of teen safety, I would like to encourage parents to initiate open conversations with their teens about safety, the risks of social media, and the prompt reporting of incidents should they occur. The Chandler Police Department remains committed to providing proactive educational initiatives within the school curriculum. Our focus encompasses topics such as anti-bullying, violence deterrence, responsible social media usage, and gang prevention. Recently, Council approved school resource officer contracts for the next 3 years, assigning an officer in all of our junior high and high schools throughout our city. Additionally, the Chandler Unified School District has a dedicated tip line called Speak Up for Safety, available to students where they can call, email, or text information. In response to growing concerns surrounding teen violence, we have taken additional steps to reinforce these messages by ensuring our school resource officers are actively re-emphasizing these critical lessons during their contacts. By adopting a comprehensive educational strategy, we aim to empower our youth with the knowledge and skills essential for navigating challenges that they may encounter, but to also feel safe to report a crime. Additionally, we have increased our patrol presence in areas that are prone to larger gatherings. I assure you the safety of our community is of our utmost priority, and any form of violence will not be tolerated. Thank you.
Wow. Let me start to my left and we'll work this way. Comments or questions?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Um, could you tell me what technically constitutes a gang? I've been reading a lot about that lately, and I know you had very careful wording.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the presentation. We really appreciate this.
Yeah. So basically, in order to be classified or labeled as a gang, it would be 3 or more persons that are engaging in some type of criminal activity to further their street gang. So that's what it could be, anything related to violence, any type of financial gain, anything such as those matters, that would what would be constituting it.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for the presentation. Thanks, Mayor.
Councilmember Harris or Vice Mayor Harris?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to make a couple of comments. I think this is befitting as we head into the MLK weekend, and I would not be who I am if I just didn't say this. MLK said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." And there was a lot of injustice. And I know that as a community, we're going to continue to work through these painful moments where we can show unity. But it is a collective effort from everyone. It's us starting at home. It's us educating our children. It's us understanding that we can disagree. We're all going to disagree at one point, but being respectful in how we handle our disagreements is what our children should know and what we should teach at our home. You know, being surrounded around character, letting them know when you speak loud and you're being nasty towards people, that's a reflection on your character. Let's make sure that when you leave the home, you are a reflection of what we're trying to build around you. And at times parents feel disappointed if their children does go wayward. But I just want to share this. If your child do goes wayward, just know leave it in God's hands, because you're going to have to pray, and they're going to have to come to a road in with life. And so again, I'm just praying for the Preston Lloyd family, all the supporters, and remembering what MLK stand for this weekend. And we've done this, and we can do better, and we're going to continue to do it. So again, thank you for everyone that's coming out to support and those that's going to have words. This is what it's all about, and I stand with you guys, and I hope you know that we stand with you. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I just want to hear from my neighbors and what their thoughts are and what we can do here in Chandler. And thank you, Chief, for stepping up and for the words. And we are we feel for Preston's family, and we'll move forward.
Councilmember Stewart.
All right.
Wrong side. Councilmember Relena.
No worry. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for those words, Mayor. I do remember some of those issues you talked about. I mean, when Henry came before us, and and thank you for bringing us back, because that was a motivating effort for all of us. Um, I said to you earlier, some of you in the audience, some of you I worked with, some of you I know for years. Chandler's always leaning forward, and we'll continue doing this. Local government is, if you look at all the levels of government, we're the most trusted government. And there's a reason for that, because we do have that bond with you coming into this audience, telling us how you feel, getting the phone call, some of those 2 o'clock in the morning, but that's all right. We'll leave that for another time. But we get those phone calls, and we make sure we solve your problems, whether it's street issue or issue like this. But, I always say this to my fellow council members throughout the valley, the state, and even when nationally is, um, when one community is successful, we're all successful. When one community hurts, we all hurt. And when one community demands justice, we all want to demand justice. So I just want to share with you tonight that, Chandler stands with you. You've heard some of the programs we're doing. And quite frankly, we just got a briefing just before this meeting of additional programs that we're going to be rolling out in our school system as well as our public safety. So we can't stop now. We got to keep moving forward and making sure we educate our individuals out there and of the right things to do. So we're with you, and we'll stand by you.
Councilmember Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, thank you so much for this briefing. And I wanted to bring to your attention also, Chief, that next month, February, it's going to be Teen Violence Month. And I have been appointed by the mayor now for over 4 years over at MAG, Domestic Violence Board. And currently, I have just been appointed as the chair, co-chair of that MAG board. The one thing that I know that we thrive there to do is to make sure that we bring awareness. As a psych nurse, I wouldn't leave here tonight without impressing on every single one of you to not wait to react when these things happen, but rather to be proactively working on those things, not only with your own children, but those other kids that are in the community. As a mother, I'm sitting here tonight, and I just can't imagine what Preston's parents are going through. I lost my son 2.5 years ago, and that's something that not any parent would like to go through. I'm reaching out to every single one of you. When you leave here tonight, let's not forget about what we have spoken here. Take it with you back to your community, to your neighborhood. You, as a parent, when those children come into your home, open your doors. If you see that they do not have that at home and you are capable of putting a word into them to enlighten them, to help them become better people, please do that, because we are one community. And the village that we talked about, that it takes a village, it does take a village. And every single one of us tonight can say that maybe we could have stopped this if we had done something differently, or if we had said something differently. And so I'm taking responsibility for my part. As you have elected me to sit here, to be that voice, tonight I want to reconfirm that I will do everything in my power, sitting at MAG, starting with next month, having a proclamation for teen violence that's going to say that we will not tolerate it, we will educate, and we will be that person who's going to stand in the gap and stop it. Thank you again for being here tonight. Thank you, Chief.
Councilmember Encinas.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, thank you so much for this update. First off, I do want to send my sincere sympathy to Preston Lord and his family. My condolences to them. Secondly, I stand with the words of our mayor and our continued commitment here in Chandler to keep not only our residents safe, but our neighboring communities safe, and anyone who visits here in the city of Chandler, that they are safe here as well.
Yeah.
And lastly, to you community members, all of you wearing orange or here being in support today, I thank you so much for your guys' time, for your guys' effort, for bringing this awareness forward. It means a lot and it makes a big difference. And lastly, I just want to leave everyone with a very simple childhood rule that I live by is if you see something, you say something. And that means a lot more today more than ever. And it can make a big difference. So I thank you guys all so much for being here tonight with us. Thank you.
Chief, unless you have any final words to say, I think our briefing is over.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council, next on our agenda tonight is unscheduled public appearances, which many, if not all people are here for that. When we have unscheduled public appearances, because this is not part of the agenda, we can listen to you, we can take notes, we can address the city manager in terms of look into this, but we cannot directly have a dialogue with you because of public meeting law. I have one card that is not related to teen violence. The one guy not wearing orange in here. So so we're going to let him talk first.
Absolutely.
All right. We have Pastor Victor Hardy. I think someone should slap a ribbon on that guy. As with the rest of you, once you come to the mic, please state your name and address for the record. You have up to 3 minutes to share your comments. The green light will be on for about 2.5 minutes. The yellow is about 30 seconds, and then red means stop, just like traffic. So please wrap up your comments if you have not done so by then. Pastor Hardy.
Thank you. Pastor Victor Hardy, 2220 East Spruce Drive. I'm the pastor of the Congregational Church of the Valley. There's a movie out right now about a man named Rustin, who was the architect of the March on Washington. Really good film. The first scene that you have in the movie is of an African-American woman sitting at a counter, waiting for someone to feed her. As she's sitting there is ketchup poured upon her head. That is my Aunt Barbara. She sat at a counter, wanting just to eat. And someone came over and poured ketchup upon her head. I am angry and I'm mad that I have to stand here and talk about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on a candlelight vigil, and yet I get people slamming doors in my face because they don't want to have anything to do with it. Or as a black man, they see trouble coming. I'm sorry for Mr. Preston, but my anger goes to the community that understands that they should have done something before it happened now. And we should have been standing beside our children. We stand here with our people. We stand because of history, and that's the reason why we're here. I get tired of having people tell me that economically I'm not important. I get tired of people telling me that I'm no longer visible to the naked eye or to our community. It has nothing to do with you, city, but it has to do with our community. In this room, I'm the only African American here sitting out there. And there are days that people say things to me that no one should be able to say to anybody. Tired. I'm frustrated. On the 14th, we'll have a candlelight vigil. That's why I didn't take a candle from you, whomever tried to give me one, because my light shines from the beginning of the time that I've been here in Chandler since the end of time today, that my light shines for each and every young person who's ever been here. And I know this is the first time that I've ever showed my frustration to the city or to anybody else. I understand that this is the first time that you've ever heard me speak this way, because today is the day that I tell you that that young man should not have died, but we should have been behind all of our young people, and we should have stood up for our community. All of us together as one. But we didn't. I'm sorry.
Hey, can I have a hug?
I have one comment card that's anonymous, although I'll read it. Um, And if I say it wrong, I apologize. I'm having a little problem just reading some of the words, so I'll put that on me, not you. Of all the council members, how many of you are concerned for your and your family's safety from these Gilbert goons? So a question. Our first speaker card, and again, you have up to 3 minutes. State your name and address when you come up. Is Xenia, I apologize if I mispronounce your name, Prochowski? Xenia? Again, please state your name and address for the record.
Is it right here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks. I'm having my in my heart here. My name is Zena Pruzhanovsky. My address is 3612 East San Carlos Place.
Excuse me 1 minute, is the clock running? Thank you, Dana.
And I'd like to say thank you, City Council members and Mayor Hartke, for allowing me to speak this evening. My name is Zena Pruzhanovsky. We've been living here for 13 years. I'm a mother and I'm also a teacher. So I'm always trying to teach that kindness up from the young children. I come before you this evening for you to be aware that our community is watching and the East Valley is watching. This entire state is watching. And your response to youth violence in our community has the ability to set the standards for all the communities that are watching. I'd like to thank you for your increased safety patrols and thank you for communicating your commitment to the citizens of Chandler to make us safe. And I also encourage our fellow community members to take walks in your neighborhoods as I do every evening. Keep the Chandler Police non-emergency number handy at any time. Whenever I've called, I've always felt comfortable reporting anything that you might see. It's 480, as they've said before, 782-4130. And let us show those that are watching that Chandler cares, that we really care. Chandler is a community that does not tolerate any violence. And let us all cooperate to bring justice for Preston Lord and his family, those that have been affected by these crimes and the crimes that have hurt the people. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Bridget Vega. Bridget? All right, we'll come back to her. All right, Bridget. Please state your name and address. You've got 3 minutes to share your thoughts.
Bridget Vega, 137 East Elliott Road, number 325, Gilbert, Arizona 85299. Good evening, Mayor and Town Council. I am Bridget, a mother, a mental health and human trafficking prevention advocate. Change begins with awareness. When does it stop? Justice starts with us. When each and every single one of us have the courage to stop looking away and turning a blind eye. You don't get to look the other way on this issue. An innocent soul, a child, was brutally murdered. Preston Lord, it could have been any one of our children. What if it was your child? What if it was someone you knew? Together, we must rise for the children. When you say, am I a part of the problem? When you face that mirror and start holding people accountable. I am concerned as suicide rates have skyrocketed. Sextortion, drug trafficking, drug use, including alcohol, vapes with weed and fentanyl on elementary and high school campuses, and sexual assault. As stated by the county attorney, based on Superior Court's most recent stats show that the number of crimes committed by minors and weapons has increased by 5 times more from 2022 to 2017. That's including all categories: possession, murder, aggravated assault. I would like to partner and help connect departments, school districts, to nonprofits such as Red Light Rebellion. That's boots on the ground with the youth leading prevention, addressing physical, emotional, spiritual health, and the importance of digital safety and resilience. So we can get a prevention program implemented at the schools, community, and all town government officials. This will be the next step to eradicate teen violence and stop allowing the abusers to continue to perpetuate intentional infliction of emotional distress on the youth and the community due to senseless acts of violence. Adverse childhood experiences are the lead contributor to senseless acts of violence and gang stalking tactics that we're witnessing in the community and across the nation. Please remember, the children are watching, and your silence is deafening. As we were told to wait for a thorough investigation, the children go to school feeling unsafe, unseen, unheard, and cannot even be children. While they wonder, as life goes on, where's the justice? Who's protecting us? As they live in survival mode using coping mechanisms, the children are in the communities every day, cross paths with the teens who continue to get away with assaults and murder. It's more than a hashtag, it's a child's life. To the youth, those that reported but were silenced, you are courageous. I'm sorry for everything you've endured. I pray for healing, strength, and protection as God continues to bring the stories to light. Please know we're here for you. You are enough. Your voice matters. We see you, we hear you, we stand by you. I love you. Be an upstander. Continue to keep the Lord, the Jenkins, Stevens, the Aveas family, and all of the youth in your prayers. We have no future if you don't protect the children. We have a duty to protect the innocent. If not, that blood is on our hands. Thank you for your time. I pray over the partnership so we can grow and build a safer and stronger community together.
Thank you. Cassandra Irwin. Cassandra, please state your name and address for the record.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. I'm Cassandra Irwin, 9801 West Gold Dust Drive, Queen Creek, 85142. Mayor and Council, thank you for having us today. My name is Cassandra Irwin from Queen Creek, Arizona. I'm a mother of 3 children who are students of Chandler Unified School District by choice. We open enrolled after reading of CUSD's merit. As we know, the Chandler School District's hub is within city limits. However, Chandler schools are as far-reaching as Gilbert and Queen Creek. Children living as far west as Ahwatukee and as far east as Santan Valley attend Chandler schools. The regional reach is evident, which is why it's never been more important to partner with the city of Chandler on integrating a convergent program for cities, schools, residents, and children to stand unified in behaviors supporting that of an upstanding citizen. A child's connection to their parent and community creates confidence. A confident child is a thriving student, a thriving friend, and a thriving athlete. A thriving student, friend, and athlete has a growth mindset and makes connections with others. They're often magnetic. These very children grow up to be the adults who call our cities home, and then the recycle repeats. My ask is for the city of Chandler, along with the Chandler Unified School District, to consider spearheading the Unified Upstander Initiative. Being first is not new to the city of Chandler. This initiative will front load our community with consistent messaging, tools, programs, literature, focus groups, and events within the schools and within our community. The Upstander initiative will have an actionable plan suitable for each area of our collective community. When they say it takes a village to raise our children, you are that village, Chandler. Your schools are that village. Your coalition in the East Valley region is a significant part of that village. Be the leader, be the change, be the upstander, Chandler. Thank you for your consideration this evening.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Patricia Evans. Patricia?
I'm sorry.
Welcome, and please state your name and the address for the record.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me an opportunity. My name is Patricia Evans. I live at 4673 East Cherry Hills Drive, Chandler, Sun Groves. I'm here to talk about organized gang stalking. And I'm being gang stalked, been doing this, who's ever doing it, I don't know who's doing it. And I'm being L stalked as well. And it's been going on since 2018. It's gotten worse where people go in front of my house with loud noises. I've had 3 of my large plants destroyed. And wherever I go, to Macy's or Fry's, they follow me there taking pictures. I've had my husband's car slashed, tires slashed, my car slashed and scratched up. As far as the gang stalking, that's when 5 to 10 people follow you everywhere you go. And when I talked to my daughter about it, she's a professor at the University of Michigan. She said the online stalking been online forever, and I didn't know until it started happening to me. And then I noticed this started happening to me in 2018. I don't know who put my name on a list as a suspect terrorist. I can barely walk. I'm 75 years old. And I would like to know what is the city of Chandler and the police department is doing about organized gang stalking. And I need help because I'm being harassed every day and air stalking with helicopters and airplanes. If I go to Phoenix to visit a friend, a helicopter follow me there, here, everywhere I go. If I go to my doctor's office, people follow me everywhere I go in air stalking as well. So I'd like to know what the police department can do about that. I don't know if anyone heard about organized gang stalking, whether it's 5 to 20 people follow you everywhere you go. It's
City Manager,
online.
City Manager, can you please have police just get with Miss Evans and look at her concerns?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And I got some information on it if you'd like to have it.
Could you hand that to our City Manager then? That would be great. Or to Matt Burdick. Thank you, Mrs. Evans.
Oh. Well, this is the young lady that breaks it down. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
We can't engage you.
Okay, thank you.
Our next speaker is Nikki Canella. Nikki, welcome. Please state your name and address. You have up to 3 minutes to share your thoughts and concerns.
My name is Nikki Connolly, and I'm a Chandler resident, 810 East Cherrywood Place. I've been here 12 years. I apologize if some of this is repetitive, but I was at the Gilbert City Council meeting. My son was a victim of a jumping here in Chandler. In November 19th of 2022, he was at the Chandler Mall with some friends, 2 girls and a boy, and they were walking towards the movies, and a group of kids kind of started harassing them. They said, leave us alone, we're going to the movies, and it didn't stop, and they realized it started to escalate, and my son screamed at his friends to run. He got punched in the side of the head and was taken down to the ground. He couldn't run fast enough. They got him by his shirt. At that time, a car pulled around. It was over by BJ's Bar and Grill. Pulled around, a bunch of kids jumped out and started stomping him in his head, his back, violently. He tried to stand up, got kicked in the face, got kicked back down. He's a big kid. He's a tough kid. He's a football player. He knew how to defend himself. So he got down on the ground and just held his hands and his elbows over his head and neck so they couldn't get his head. So mostly they were able to get his back and his elbows. And so it was a traumatic experience for him. Somebody on the BJ's patio called 911, and the boys scattered. And somebody screamed, over there, and the boys scattered. So the police called my husband and I down. We filed a police report. At that time, the police, when we were having our discussion, they said to me, "This happens here all the time. They jump kids and they scatter." And I was, at the time, I was so upset for him and for our situation. I didn't think much of that. I support our police department. I know that they have a tough, tough job. And it's hard to follow up on all the cases that they get. But there was, at that time, not much they could do. So they sent us home with a bruised and battered kid. We tried to get some answers at that time. We talked to the police department several times. There was a video, and they, I see my lights here. There was a video. They couldn't get it for us. We paid for it. We never heard back from them, so we just decided to move on. So just an incident here in Chandler that I think is important for everybody to know about, that it just doesn't happen in some other cities. It happens here. Thank you.
City manager, and I would certainly love to know I've heard of this case, but in terms of the comment of this is common or other things, I think council would like to know a lot more about that. So
Mayor.
thank you. Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you. City manager, can we look into like what type of CCTV TV we have at the mall? And then if there's other opportunities for us to partner with the mall to be able to make sure that's a secure area? Thank you.
Mayor, real quick. Sorry.
Councilmember.
Yeah. Do we have our substation there too, don't we?
Mayor, members of council, we do have an officer that is assigned to the mall. And we also have a direct video connection with the mall through an established partnership where we can patch into their camera system.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's get get more information on what that duty station is, and if we need to beef that up.
Thank you. The next speaker is Melissa Sabante. Melissa. Please state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to share.
For the sake of privacy,
That's fine.
we don't want to say our address. Okay. My name is Melissa Sacanti. Good evening. I lived in Chandler for the past 13 years. I am the stepmother of Preston Lord. And if you're not familiar with Preston, he was brutally attacked at a Halloween party on October 28th of last year, which resulted in his death. He recently celebrated turning 16 years old when this horrendous act and devastating loss occurred. This tragedy abruptly altered our lives forever. This has been a nightmare that we have endured for the past 75 days without resolution. Preston's death is a high-profile investigation case. Preston is more than a headline. He is the son. Sorry. He was a son, a brother, and a friend. I can't read through my tears now. Preston was an upstanding young man. While no number of words can fully describe him, I will list some of his attributes to help you get to know who he was. He was a junior at Combs High School, although he did live with us in Chandler. A member of the basketball and golf team. He was very academic, and he received the 2023 President's Education Award from the U.S. Secretary of Education. Additionally, he was a leader of the Honor Society and involved with Student Council. Preston was content and appreciative of anything that was given or done for him. He was loyal, respectful, trustworthy, and responsible. He had empathy for children and was gentle and kind. He stood up for the weaker person, and he knew the difference between right and wrong. He inspired many people to be better and to do better. And now that you know what an extraordinary person Preston was, let's discuss why I'm here tonight. Preston's death was impacted not only the Chandler community, but the entire East Valley. At the Halloween party that Preston attended, there was teenagers from Mesa, Queen Creek, Santan Valley, Gilbert, Chandler, and Ahwatukee. Many residents, including myself, were concerned about safety and the presence of teen violence and bullying in our community. Our children are sent to school to get an education and to prepare them to be an upstanding and contributing member of society. When children are afraid, okay, that didn't go. Afraid of their lives, this is a grave concern. We should not be afraid in our own communities. The grassroots campaign, Be an Upstander and Not a Bystander, If You Know Something, Say Something, was initiated by Katie McPherson and supported by the Lord family. I want Chandler and all the schools in Chandler to be led by this campaign. We will provide kits necessary to begin. It will be a slow process, but together we do better. This campaign consists of promoting and educating youth on teen violence and bullying. The goal is to decrease the incidence of these acts both in and out of the school arena, initiate mandatory education sessions in school, and provide resources for families and counselors. Our goal is to keep our children safe. The devastating loss of Preston's life was due to unnecessary violence. Our child will never be coming home. And we need to prevent this from ever happening again. Empowering our youth and building their self-confidence, worth, and value will support their outlook in life and give them the courage to stand up to bullying. We would love this campaign to be in Preston's honor. Thank you for considering this request.
City Manager, can you make sure we get a copy of this program? Thank you. Stephanie Jernigan.
My name is Stephanie Jernigan, and I would not like to give my address if that's okay.
That's fine.
I'm a longtime Chandler resident and mom to 3 children ranging in age from 12 to 20. In late December 2022, my son, who was 16 at the time, was a victim of a gang-style attack at the Santan Mall In-N-Out in Gilbert. It was around dinner time on a Thursday night, and he was simply waiting to meet up with a friend while listening to music outside his car. A large group of boys approached him and told him to give them money. When he said no, one of them said he would just take his car. At that moment, my son turned his back to them to get in his car and was struck in the skull with brass knuckles. He immediately felt blood gushing down his head and back, but was able to get in his car and leave to get help. The ER doctor who treated him said that had the injury been a few inches lower, it could have resulted in cervical vertebrae damage, causing lifelong paralysis or even death. We immediately filed a police report with Gilbert Police, and once 2 suspects were identified a couple weeks later, pressed charges. The arrest was a result of teen upstanders who witnessed the attack and shared information. The main attacker was prosecuted and sentenced in juvenile court. The other one had his charges dropped. When we learned of the murder of Preston Lord, our hearts sank. The circumstances sounded all too familiar. Could some of these same boys who never were brought to justice in our case have been involved in this attack? I'm afraid to know the answer, but I do know we were told by Gilbert Police that our case was not an isolated incident and they had responded to several reports of brass knuckle incidents in the prior month at that In-N-Out alone. They said the victims had all been reluctant to press charges. We know police cannot do their jobs without victims' cooperation and the support of witnesses brave enough to come forward with evidence. That is critical. Since October 30th,
There has not been one day that goes by that I do not think of Preston Lord and his family and how close we came to experiencing their heartbreak. That is why I'm here speaking today. I have faith that our Chandler leaders can be part of the solution to the escalation in teen violence we're experiencing in the East Valley. Here are some actionable ideas for your consideration. 1. Convene a regional task force to show that Queen Creek, Gilbert, and Chandler are all collaborating together and making this a top priority. I realize Gilbert recently created a subcommittee on teen violence, but what is truly needed is a broader regional approach that incorporates teens, law enforcement, mental health experts, parents, victims, and anyone who can bring good ideas to the table without getting bogged down by governmental red tape. No offense.
None taken.
Number 2, we absolutely have to work with our state lawmakers to ensure brass knuckles aren't easily available to purchase online or in smoke shops. That's a no-brainer. As a supporter of the Second Amendment, I can think of no good reason brass knuckles even exist. My son, who is very similar to Preston, great student, straight A student, wonderful athlete, awesome human being, he wrote to our state legislators over the summer with this request, and he was met mostly with silence. Number 3, listen. What you are doing tonight is part of the healing process, and I thank you for this opportunity. As concerned victims' parents, we are incredibly encouraged by the support of our community and leaders like Mayor Hartke, Chandler City Council, and the Chandler Police Department, who have not only expressed empathy to us, but also pledged to find solutions and ensure that these brazen, dangerous teen and adult criminals will be held accountable for their actions, including taking the life of Preston Lord. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Conley. Mr. Conley,
Don't start the
state.
clock yet, my friend. I gotta blow the nose. Whoa, man, I'm bad. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Please state your name and address.
Yes, sir. Bill Conley, Conley. I live 600 yards south of the Gilbert Police Station. My time is short. I'm just gonna make it happen. Pastor, I don't know where you are, but my heart goes out. Sorry, my heart goes out to you. All of us feel for you. We'll never know what you feel, and there's nothing that we can say to make it better. But I'll just say this: you have made a huge impact on my life, and you've given me things to think about, and you have reminded me of things, and for that I'm ever grateful. I'm sincerely sorry of the pain that you and your friends and your family go through. It's unacceptable. And I know all of us will do what we can to help you. Melissa, wow, just wow. Wow, just wow. Girl, you're impressive. And it wasn't because you gave me directions and showed me how to get in this place. I didn't know who you were. You are impressive. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you.
You are impressive, and I am blown away. What else? Preston's mom. Oh my God. Listen, my daughter is 16. She is similar to Preston as well. She goes to high school about 2 miles north of where Preston was murdered. In her history class, one of the suspects in the case is in her class today. Okay? Nothing like what you're going through, but we're scared to death. Okay? Who else we got? Okay, I'll remember in a minute. I'm gonna love on these guys if you're okay. Man, you guys are impressive. I cannot believe the difference between these two city councils. I'm not gonna, right? Hey, I'm not gonna rail on Gilbert City Council, but I can tell you that we're pretty darn jelly. Man, you guys are awesome. If I would have had time, we're gonna go around. I was gonna get knuckles from you. But after the pastors, I just, no, forget that. I'm almost out of time. Can't believe it. Listen, can I get 3 more minutes? No, I'm just, hey, you guys are so impressive. I cannot thank you enough. Man, we are all moved. And I cannot believe the difference in 2 city councils and what we wouldn't give to have you in our city. Thank you for your time.
Lisa Elger? Lisa? Lisa, if you're comfortable, please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Lisa Alger, 2300 Butler Street. Appreciate the opportunity to talk tonight. As a Chandler resident and a parent of a young adult that attended Chandler schools, I've witnessed the work that the city and the school district have put into the mental and emotional health of our youth, as well as ensuring their safety. I applaud the efforts that have been made, but with the recent events that have unfolded, it's clear that more needs to be done. Chandler, Gilbert, and Queen Creek are separated by invisible boundaries, but this is not their problem, it's our problem. The schools, businesses, and community members are all intertwined, which is why all 3 cities need to partner together to address these acts of violence and put a stop to it. The victims and their families deserve justice, and our youth deserve to feel safe. If we as a community sit back and do nothing, we become bystanders. I've seen the comments from the community as videos are shared stating how can kids stand by and watch, or how can they just video this and do nothing? Well, if the residents, the city officials, educators, and courts don't hand down consequences, sending the message that this type of violence will not be tolerated, then we too are just bystanders. It's proven that this type of destructive behavior will only escalate if not swiftly addressed, which has already been proven. This not only continues to be a threat to our youth, but our community as well. I'm in support of Chandler creating a teen violence subcommittee to partner with our neighboring cities and addressing this before we are wrapped up in the stronghold of the group or groups committing these senseless acts of violence. We as adults need to walk the walk. We can't expect our kids to do as we say and not as we do. They're watching all of this unfold and they're paying attention. It's time to be an upstander and not a bystander. I'm extremely proud to be a Chandler resident, and I believe that Chandler's participation with our neighboring cities will begin paving the way for a safer community for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Our next speaker is Ben Andrus. Ben? State your name and address, and you have 3 minutes, sir.
My name is Ben Andrus. I'm a husband and a dad, and I have 3 kids, one of whom, my oldest, actually attends Weinberg Academy, but we're residents of Gilbert. 2 boys, 7 and 8, and I have a baby girl who's 9 months old. Fortunately, my boys are not yet of the age where I have to be concerned about them getting beaten to death by their peers, but within a couple of years, they will be. And I hope that by that time we can say that as a community, we've been able to get in front of this teen violence issue. The thing about the uptake we've seen in youth violence is that it doesn't only affect teens, it affects all of us, as we've seen here tonight. It affects us in more subtle but very real ways. I want to share a quick story about something that happened in my own neighborhood this past Halloween. It's a different story than the one that we've all heard, and fortunately, this is a story with a better outcome. I live in Morrison Ranch. Warner Groves is a neighborhood that's frequented by the so-called goons. We've seen them rip through our green belts and our sidewalks on their motorbikes, but they really haven't caused too much problem up until this point. On Halloween night, though, a group of teens rode into our neighborhood on their motorbikes, and they lit a partial stick of dynamite and threw it at my neighbor and his 12-year-old son while they were trick-or-treating. It was a little bit later on in the evening, it was about 9 o'clock or so. The explosion was massive, and they both actually sustained some minor injuries. They were okay, but they had some minor burns on their hands and their clothing. I have a home security video on my phone in my pocket of this event taking place. I don't know that anyone has seen this video because it hasn't gone public, but those I have shown it to all react the exact same way. They say, holy cow, that's insane. The explosion was insane in the video. I'm told that the police report was filed with Gilbert Police Department, but then the case was closed a week later due to a lack of evidence. The part that really bothers me, though, is that this homeowner, the one who owns these cameras, did not want the video getting out because they were afraid of retaliation. So fast forward to Christmas Eve, my wife and I want to go walk our street and look at some lights with our kids. We do this luminary thing on Christmas Eve. And we both hesitate for a moment because we're a little bit like, man, should we do this? And we decided that it would be best if I carried a firearm, just in case. And that is why I'm here tonight. I'm here because arming myself so that I can walk down my own sidewalk is something I never would have thought could become a reality in Gilbert, Arizona. Adult citizens who are afraid to speak up against these wayward adolescents is something I never would have thought I'd see in Gilbert, Arizona. And without intervention, this could also become a reality in Chandler and Mesa, Queen Creek. It already is. We need to remedy this issue quickly before it gets worse, and we need to restore safety to our communities. I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Ben. Our next speaker is Katie McPherson. Katie.
Mayor, esteemed council members, thanks for allowing me to speak tonight. I speak for a living, but typically not on emotional topics. So I think we're here tonight with a unique opportunity to lead. Chandler has a unique opportunity because of maybe not as much emotion and the ability for you all to have clarity around this topic. As Will said, the empathy in this room is palpable. It was not palpable on Tuesday night in Gilbert. I became aware of the goons in December of 2022 when my dear friend Stephanie Jarnigan's son was bludgeoned with brass knuckles. She called me, we discussed it. I helped walk her through sort of the justice process that I knew, which I'm not an expert on. But it wasn't until Preston's death that I realized exactly what had happened. Very quickly, because I do social media responsibility for a living, I was able within about 3 or 4 hours to connect the dots to a massive amount of children that mostly reside in Gilbert, but that attend Chandler Unified schools. One of our schools in Chandler Unified is ground zero for one of the groups that is in operation. We have 3 major groups in operation. One of them is part of Chandler Unified School District. Tonight, we are sitting in a room with 3 mothers who are the ultimate upstanders. You've heard from 2 who almost lost their sons to senseless violence and 1 who did. The night of October 28th, my own child, who is a senior, went to a party after the party that Preston attended. That party became out of control because of the children from the party that Preston attended then filtered into this party that was also in Gilbert off of Higley and Germain Road. Gilbert police came to that party, walked the perimeter, told the student whose parents were not in town that she was going to get a noise ordinance and left. A Chandler Unified School District employee who is the ultimate mom upstander came and single-handedly cleared the party herself. Yet another mom upstander and from Chandler. We stand at the intersection tonight of hope and community. I'm so grateful for your listening. For the victims and assailants alike, we must act. I implore all of us to join hands in this effort and to do so with love in our hearts and minds. Additionally, because I do social media responsibility for a living, one of the common denominators that I have found, beyond the fact that parents are not supervising and monitoring social media, is that these boys do not have male role models in their life. Some of them do not have fathers. Some of them have absent fathers. Some of them have fathers that are incarcerated. Some of them have fathers that are working up the corporate ladder, and more important to them is money than their children. So as the men in the room here in front of me at the dais and behind me and watching and anywhere in Chandler, Gilbert, Queen Creek, and across the valley, we need you now more than ever. These boys need our help. Our victims need our help. Thank you so much.
Our last speaker card is Elizabeth Ward Harris. Elizabeth? Please state your name and, if you're comfortable, address for the record.
Elizabeth Ward Harris. Not gonna say our address is protected, so I won't either, but I have been a Chandler resident for about 23 years. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I wasn't going to, but I'll just enhance to speak. First, I want to give prayers to the Lord family, and your family, or you are in our prayer. We're sending our deepest condolences to you and your family. Second, I want to just bring an incident that happened to us back in 2020 of August, July of 2020. My daughter and her friends, my youngest daughter, we have four. Our youngest attends a private school in Chandler, Arizona, and they were playing basketball with some of our other friends at the Fox Crossing basketball. And they were bullied and called racial slurs by some other little young kids because they were upset that the girls beat the boys at basketball. But luckily, one of my daughter's friends had mace, and she maced them because they were getting ready to fight girls. So thank goodness she had mace, which is a sad that a 14-year-old has to carry around mace in the first place. Second thing that happened to me and my husband on our campaign trail when he was the last time hitting the doors before his election, on Facebook Live, we had some young boys, 3 young boys on bikes throw eggs and drinks at us. So before we start talking about the police and about community, we need to talk about the parents.
Yeah, man.
Parents, you need to wake up and raise your children. Stop turning a blind eye. That's not my kid. That is your kid. It is our parents' job as a responsibility to take responsibility and raise our children and stop being a blind eye to society. That's not my kid.
Amen.
The first teaching comes from home.
Yes, ma'am.
And shame on the parents.
Yes, ma'am.
Take responsibility. Shame on parents.
Absolutely.
It does not start at school. It does not start at church. Responsibility start at home with the parents and teaching and disciplining our children. I was once 16 years old. I never done that. Our children, we do not do that. Stop seeing what boys do, what girls do. That's not what human beings do.
Right.
And then we as humans, my dad used to always say, we sit around and we only care about things when it affects us. Let's start caring when it doesn't affect you, because Preston could have been my son. He was your son. He was your son. He was your son. He was your son. My daughter is your daughter, his daughter, everyone's daughter. So let's start taking accountability, not just because it is your son, but it's when it was one person, it affects one person, it affects everyone. We as parents need to wake up and stop making excuses for bad behavior. It is embarrassing. What happened to Preston should have never happened. What happened to my daughter should have never happened. What happened to, I was told by some constituents that when they knew I was coming, Jameer Jenkins, who went to the same school as Preston, was shot and killed 2 weeks within the same time frame at the same school. 3.0 grade point average, varsity athlete, and he was shot, killed. But his assailants have been captured. We need to also talk about him as well, because he died at the same school and shot and killed. We need to not forget that, you guys. Again, we need to start teaching our parents, our kids at home. It doesn't start with the police and the community. It starts at home. Talking to your kids, having conversation with your kids. MLK, as we approach MLK, one thing he said, darkness cannot drive out darkness, but light can only do that. The time is always right to do the right things, you guys. The Bible also speaks about Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in a way he should go and depart. So when he goes home out into the world, he's doing good. Discipline your children.
Yes.
It starts at home. Discipline your children. It starts at home. Start having conversations with your children. Ask them about their day. Ask them how are they doing. Was they bullied? Me and my daughter's conversation when they were little coming up. Who did you play with? How was you treated today? And my kids went to private school their whole entire life. But let me tell you, we have our fair share of problems as well. So we as a family, Queen Creek, Chandler, Gilbert, Tempe need to all get together and talk about this problem, and parents, and talk about resources. Resources not going to get it. It is disciplined. Single mothers raise great children. Single fathers raise great children. It's more to it than just that. It's about not turning a blind eye, and it's about raising your children the right, correct way. Get them in church, get them in youth group, get them in school, get them in sports, and be in their life and be present. Sometimes money is not always the right thing to do. Sometimes I take lower pay cuts to make sure I was present in my kids' life, making sure I was at every game, every basketball, every mommy event, every daddy event, all those events. My husband too as well. It is our problem, it is our team as parents to get together and be present in our children's life to make a difference. God bless everyone in this room.
Wow. Amazing.
So that concludes the speaker cards that were here tonight. The last item on our agenda is just council comments, and I'll start. I want to repeat the information that I gave at the end of my opening comments. So to repeat, and could you please make sure this is put up? Is it up there? Thank you. Repeat teen violence incidents in Chandler to the Chandler Police Department. Posting information on social media is not a substitute for contacting police. Call or text 911 to report emergencies. Call or text 480-782-4130 to report non-emergency incidents. Anonymous tips, images, and videos can be submitted online to our Chandler Police. Anonymous tips can also be shared by calling 480-782-4440. And Vice Mayor Harris, can you come up with a jingle for that for me the next time I have to share this?
I got you. I got you.
He's my jingle man. Other current events. This weekend, we have our multicultural festival that will be coming downtown. You are all invited. It's a part of our celebration of unity events held each January to honor our community's heritage and diversity. And this exciting annual event is happening this Saturday, January 13th, starting at 11 a.m. at Dr. A.J. Chandler Park. It'll go until 6 p.m. Come and join cultural performances, kids' activities, unique vendors, delicious food. Come talk to myself or council members. This is our 29th annual event, and I hope to see you all there. Next on my announcements is we have a mayor's HOA roundtable coming up next week, January 17th. I'll be hosting the annual mayor's HOA roundtable. This free event educates, connects, and provides resources for HOA members. And you all are invited to join us January 17th from 4 to 5:30 at the Chandler Innovation Center, which is just south and a little bit east of us here at this location. We're getting there. My next announcement is the Chandler International Film Festival. I'm excited to announce that our 7th annual Chandler International Film Festival kicks off on Friday, January 19th, and it'll run through January 28th. The International Film Festival will be showcasing over 120 films submitted from around the world, spanning 6 continents and 35 countries. This festival is dedicated to uniting the community through film. Whether you're a filmmaker or a casual viewer, there's something there for you. Come join us on the red carpet on January 19th and check out the full schedule of events at chandlerfilmfestival.com. I've got one more. Airport Day. Right, Ryan? Last but not least, our Chandler Municipal Airport is celebrating their 75th anniversary with our community Open House Airport Day. On Saturday, January 20th, come join aircraft and helicopter displays, flyovers, and food trucks. More information can be found at thechandleraz.gov. And Stephanie, love to meet you and your family there for breakfast again. Let's go back to Hangar Cafe. Councilmember Encinas.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick announcement as we head into the MLK weekend. Obviously, it's a day off for many people, but it's also a day of reflection. So I just ask you all to just take some time, open up that history book, read up on a story, read up on a movie, or watch a movie that's going to remind you on how we actually got here fighting for civil rights, and take that time to reflect. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ellis.
Happy MLK month. And with that, I yield the rest of my time to the Vice Mayor as he will be giving us information about what's coming up with our MLK awards that's coming up. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Orlando.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you again. And I heard you loud and clear tonight. We heard you loud and clear. Took a lot of notes, as other council members have. We're going to huddle with staff and we'll come up with some good solutions. And whoever said it, we have led this valley in a lot of things, Chandler, whether it was graffiti removal or solar or recycling or streets, infrastructure, whatever it was. We have led this valley, and we'll take up your challenge, and we'll figure out what we could do to work with our neighbors and see what we can do to make this a much better community. Thank you.
Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Melissa, Stephanie, Ben, those of you that spoke tonight, I'm grateful that you were able to share that with me, share that with the rest of Mayor and Council as well. I feel terrible for what happened, but I will tell you this. In talking with Katie last week, talking with Stephanie over the phone with the situation that she was in, people that know me know that I'm kind of an activator. I try not to talk a lot. Well, they may disagree, but I try not to and try to listen. But you know, we're already talking. I'm already talking with some council members in Gilbert, talking with Jeff Brown in Queen Creek, and what you talked about bringing people together and creating a consortium of folks that can talk about these things and compare notes. Not only is it going to happen in our police department, it's going to happen at the council level. So we'll get Mesa and Tempe, and we'll sit and we'll talk and we'll implement some of these things that you're bringing to us, because we're all in this together, right? We're all a community, and so when you bring these things to us, we can activate, and we can help, and staff can help us organize that thing, and we can rise up together, and we can do the things that you're asking us to do. And I'm just grateful that you brought it forward, because I think many people think we have the answers up here. We don't. You have the answers, and we all have the answers together. So thank you for doing that. And I won't say much more about it, but I want you to know some things are moving forward to bring that together so that we can make this happen and end this violence in our community. So thank you. But, you know, on another note, we, our last week, our police department did announce we had a record-breaking drop in crime rates. I know that doesn't, I'm trying to be mindful of where we are today, but I wanted to commend our police chief who retired today, Sean Duggan. 10 years ago, he came to this community and he implemented a culture of service and has made our community prideful in our police department. And I certainly am. It is a safe community. We have bad actors and we will take care of those. But I wanted to wish Chief Duggan the very best in his retirement. And if you see him, do the same. He's a remarkable, remarkable man. So I'll pass it on to Odie. Thank you.
I've heard.
Thank you, Mark.
I do have a question just for our fire chief in the back. I've heard that he's going to start volunteering with you. Is that correct? Inside joke. Vice Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mayor. First, I wanted to shout my wife out right there. That's that dominant voice that I have in my ear. She's passionate. She cares. She loves people. And you can see together we make a great team because we are people that just love people. You know, some of these things doesn't really even matter, you know, because when it gets to the heart of people, that's what we're here to do. And each one of my colleagues here, from the mayor, And each one of you guys serve with your heart, and I'm proud to serve with you guys because it's your heart that moves this thing forward. It's your heart that makes you want to go and knock on the doors, and even when you get rejections, you keep going, and even when you kind of don't get it right the first time, you get back up again, you keep doing it. And so I just kind of want to let you guys know that I appreciate serving with you guys because whether we agree or disagree, this is hard work. It's not hard work, it's hard work. And we do this because we care above everything. And so I just want to tell the mayor and the council, thank you so much for serving with me. And also, I want to also thank the mayor and council for allowing me to represent as the vice mayor this year. I really do appreciate your support and whatever I can do to make this council better as a vice mayor. I'm here to do that, and I'm here to again just serve. I want to get into my announcements, and thanks to my wife. I love you, honey. She's the only thing I look at every day. I love her so much, and she always give me the pep talk. That's my soft place to run and escape to, and she's always created an oasis for me. And I'm not saying it because I'm just in love with her. I'm saying it because it is just the truth, and I truly, truly love my wife. She's the only one that I've ever loved this much, and I love you, honey. Well, thank you. It's okay. Y'all can clap for my wife. All right. So I wanted to make a couple of announcements, and thank you to Councilmember Christine Ellis for yielding some of her time to me to make the announcements about what's going to happen this MLK weekend. So on tomorrow, we will have the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Awards. That is going to be Friday, January 12th from 4 to 5 p.m. It's going to be right here in the council chambers. So 4 to 5, we're going to be here at the council chambers. We want you all to come out and support the winners of this great award. And then after that, from 5 p.m. To 7 p.m., we're going to have an after party at the West Alley Barbecue. So it's going to be free food there. So please come after you come to the awards, go over there to the West Alley Barbecue from 5 to 7. It's going to be amazing. And then the after party, right? From 7 to 10, there's going to be a live band there as well. So we're going to be having a good time. That's how we do. There's a party, then there's an after party, then there's an after party. That's what we're doing. So my last announcement will be Monday is January 15th. It's MLK Day. This time allows us to reflect on Dr. King's life and his legacy. His commitment to justice is a guiding light, even today as we continue to strive for equity and equality for all. Dr. King has shaped our understanding of what it means to stand up for injustices, to speak when you seek change, and is the defining civil rights defender of our generation. He would have been 94 years old today in his life if it wasn't tragically cut short. The city of Chandler has many opportunities to recognize his life and legacy throughout this month. So tomorrow evening from 4 to 5, we will be here in the council chambers where we will recognize the winners of Dr. MLK Award. These award honors for the accomplishments of Chandler area residents who contribute significantly to creating a compassionate and socially just community through their dedication to human and civil rights. And I'm proud to have brought this award program forward to Chandler, and I'm excited to celebrate our winners tomorrow evening. Thank you.
Councilmember Preston.
Well, this has been an emotional evening, and I've talked to a lot of you out in the audience, and Stephanie, thanks for talking to me too. I'm a mom as well. My boys are 22, and I have a 17-year-old in high school here in Chandler, and I don't think the right words exist for what we all feel for you tonight. I just want to say, a lot of folks are parents on the dais. I think we all. I think you felt the empathy. I think we all have that. So all I want to say is just thank you for being here. I will do everything I can to work with this council, to work with the city staff. I know all of this council is going to take this incredibly seriously. We're going to listen to you. If you have ideas, we were going to take those seriously. I think Councilmember Stewart said it very well that you all are part of the solution. it's not just, and I loved what you said, it's not just your kid, it's all of our kids. All of our kids. That one kid is our kid. So that's how we're going to look at this issue and take it very seriously. So I just want to say thank you again for being here tonight, and thank you, Mayor.
City Manager.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, that concludes our meeting. Thank you again for being here.
I'm sorry. May I have the last word? I can't do it at home. I know it's against the law. Don't tackle me, Melissa. Man, we are so impressed, right? And we've decided that we're going to put forth a referendum to
I'll tell you what, I'm going to gavel out of this and then you can have your conversation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because this is, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.